Hi everyone, Peter Liciaga here, your Mount Laurel martial arts guy, and I thought I'd come on and just share my thoughts when it comes to children and youth with smartphones. And I'll just have to tell you right now, I have a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, and they both have smartphones because that's just the days that we live in. That's just the way it is these days. But I'll just tell you off the bat that I'm in a place right now that I personally don't really have a problem with smartphones. What I have a problem with off the top is the fact that people lack discipline, self-control, and the ability to be aware of what they're doing at any given moment with whatever they're doing, no matter whether they are with other people, whether they're at school, no matter what. That's my greatest challenge and my greatest really ambition and goal is to help people become more self-aware and then empower themselves with discipline and self-control. So now let me just share a couple of things I put up earlier. Well, let me back up a little bit. Yesterday, Master Donato, Mrs. Donato Karate Center. You know, of course, I'm a master instructor at Donato Karate Center. If you want to find out about our programs, go to donatokarate.com. But while I was teaching classes yesterday, Saturday, Mrs. Donato came up to me and says, "Hey, look, we had a parent come up to me today, and they asked if we can share, basically if I could share, Peter Liciaga, if I can share something about kids with smartphones and devices and games and all that stuff, because their child was really spending a significant amount of time on their device." Now, I just got this from Mrs. Donato. She simply asked me if I could say something on Facebook, on the internet, my thoughts on this. And I didn't get any more details other than that. She just said that the parent loves my videos, loves watching these videos, and appreciates the things that I've been sharing, and had asked if I would share my thoughts on that. So I'm going to share my thoughts on that, and I'm going to be honest with you guys on that. And some of you might like it, some of you may not like it, but I'm going to be truthful about it. And first and foremost, I really don't have a problem with the smartphone or any mobile device. Again, I have a problem, an issue, and I get concerned and even sometimes borderline worry of everyone, whether it's an adult, a young adult, a teen, a youth, or a child. Doesn't matter if they lack discipline, self-control, and the ability to be aware of what they're doing. That's where I really want to focus on. But anyway, let me share a couple of things that parents had said. I shared earlier today because I really wanted to come online and really be thoughtful about what I shared, because I know this is, you have people on both sides of this issue, and I think it is an issue because when you see a child, I know I went through that as well as a parent. With both my children, I'll see them on the devices. When I see them, they're always on it, and they still to this day they're always on it. And so I remember as a parent when they were younger, really having a major concern with this and worry about it. I said, "My gosh, you're spending so much time on it. They're going to be addicted to it." So anyway, you have people on two sides of this issue. You have people that really believe that smartphones are horrible, worst thing for the kids, and it's going to be, it's going to stunt their mental growth and their ability to socialize and a whole bunch of other things. Then on the other side, you have people who really don't see any problem with it at all. They say, like, look, back in the day when people were listening to radio, people were concerned about radio. And then when TV came about, people were concerned about the TV. And then they were concerned about rock and roll. And there was always somewhere in each generation where people had a concern for whatever was coming next when it came to progress. And so right now, smartphones, I heard someone say that smartphones are to TV what TV was to radio. This is just the future, and you'll see it, and it just happened really fast. And it's just, I think it's one of the things in history that came, I think it's the only thing in history that came so fast, and it just, by leaps and bounds, it's just like now in the fiber and the fabric of our everyday life. We have young people, children as young as 10 months old, probably younger, actually on devices, mobile devices and all that. So it's just the way it is. So let me share with you some of the things I shared earlier today. A question, say that asking my community, you guys, what you thought about this. And let me just go through a couple. I'm not going to say anyone's names. I'm just going to share what people said. Let me go to one of them. I'll do about three of them. I think there's three that just jump out at me. Let me go to. Let me see. Get the first one here. Here we go. One simply just said that I definitely will be following this one. Okay, yes. And then one comment here says, do not allow your kids to become too attached to the point where they cannot do without their devices. It is not a limb on your body, so it is okay to put it down and away ever so often. Monitor the devices often, especially the browsing history. Let them enjoy its value and its relevance. And I love that last line. All that is great. I think that, we have to remind ourselves and our children that these devices, are a tool, and they're not a part of us, but it's something that we can use and stay within the context of its healthy use. And I love it. There's value in this, and there's relevance in it. So we need to make sure that we as adults are aware of that, and we teach that to our children. And let me go to another comment that I saw as well. Let me find it here. Give me a moment. Here. Was it here? Yes. I have multiple children, and it was easier to get them smartphones than each their own computer. Okay, so I guess it was just easier for the smartphones than the computer, each of them. I like being able to get in contact when I need them. That's a big plus for me. I love it because right now, just before I came on, my son, who had a sleepover, texted me, said, can you pick me up, Dad, at such and such time? And this is a great communication device. That's why I really like it a lot. I continue with what this one parent said. I like being able to get in contact when I need them. They use their phones for school, organization, and of course, fun. As with most things, you have to know your children. 2 of my kids are great with their time and responsible with their usage. 2 are not. And as a parent, I limit when I feel the need to do so. So this parent sounds like they're very aware and they're very discerning about it's just not a black and white thing. I think a lot of times we think when it comes to something like this, our smartphones, right here, smartphones or anything that will pull the attention of our children, TV, games, doesn't matter, anything that pulls the attention of our children, it's not a black and white thing. So we parents really do have to be discerning when it comes to our children, and we have to look at our children individually and not have this blanket statement or this blanket thought that any one thing or any one activity is bad. It's not the thing, it's not the activity. Now I'm speaking from my this is my opinion as a dad, as an educator, as a martial arts instructor. It's not any one thing or any one situation. It's you, it's me, it's the child. We need to train ourselves to be disciplined and self-controlled and self-aware. I'll just stick to those 3 things. That's the most important thing. If we are not aware and then we find something that we really enjoy, and if we're not aware of what we're doing, we get caught up into something and just binge on it, and where it becomes something that takes us away from what we need to stay focused on, which is our responsibilities and meeting our goals. We want to make sure that we have the power. No excuses. We have the power to choose. We have the power to be disciplined and self-controlled. It's not the devices. It's not the food. It's not this. Now, yes, when it comes to substance like alcohol or drugs, there's a chemical stuff that happens in our bodies that our bodies will be addicted to it. And yes, I do know there are things that's psychological. There's a lot of things. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I just know what I do and what I've gotten results with, and the parents that I've worked with and the children I've worked with, and I'm giving my perspective on this. But as a martial arts educator and a parent, my focus is to instill in our students and even in my own children, discipline, self-control, and self self-awareness. So you need to be aware of what you're doing. You need to be then aware of what you're doing and be able to assess what you're doing and then be able to move to the right appropriate action. Again, that's from our ABCs of self-defense that we teach at DKC. That's Donato Karate Center. And once you are aware, you've assessed, and you're going to move to the right appropriate action, then you must implement self-discipline and self-control. Bottom line. So, parents, I truly believe that if we are going to train up our children in the way they should go, we must lead the way. And I had a bit of an epiphany a couple of years ago when I was getting, I was hearing, I'll say all this rhetoric, all the smartphones and the kids are on it and this and that. And I remember we saw they had this little video with a child that was looking in a magazine, and I think it was maybe a 9-month-old child, something like a young baby, looking at a magazine, and the baby was trying to swipe the picture on the magazine and didn't know they were trying to swipe that picture of this magazine, and they couldn't get it. They couldn't understand how it wasn't swiping. And so that was very interesting to see, and that had me took my concern along with everything else that I was hearing as a children, emotional. They're not socializing, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, and we got to be really concerned, and we shouldn't have our children on these smartphones because it's this and that and that and this. And I got really, really worried about that. And then I started thinking, okay, look, what am I doing? Maybe my kids are learning that from me. And I realized when I stepped back and I looked at my household, myself and what I was doing, I'm always on my computer and I'm always on my smartphone. And my laptop was always out. So my children were raised from the moment they were born. They saw me always on my laptop and always on my smartphone. That's all they saw. Why? Because that was my business. I work from home. I do my marketing for DKC. I create videos. I produce videos and content and images. So everything, all my work, everything, all of that was done on my smartphone and my laptop. So I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, my children are seeing this. That's part of our household. That's what they see all the time. Then I looked at my wife. My wife, the same thing. She coaches online. So she's on her device, communicates with her clients on her device, and she's on her laptop all the time, and she's on her tablet all the time. So my kids' dad and mom are on these devices all the time. So now, I'm saying, oh my goodness, it's part of what we do. Can't change that. What I can do is, for myself, implement discipline. So what I did do to minimize where my kids saw me 100% of the time, to minimize that, I brought my computer in and I keep everything in my office. There are times I'll have my smartphone, of course, in the house, and I'll use it, but I've chosen to put it off to the side more often than not when I'm at home, especially when my kids are around. Now, of course, my kids are always in their smartphone. That's it. They're in there. That's how they communicate with their friends. That's how they educate themselves. Everything is happening there. Their life is there. And, and I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is their lack of discipline and self-awareness and self-control. Like, I have a problem of my lack of awareness, my lack of self-control and self-discipline. Same as I would have a problem with everyone else out there that lack discipline and self-awareness and self-control. So, in short, I believe that it starts with us. Let's lead the way in being responsible with this, and our children will learn from us. So we will teach them the way they should go so that when they are older, they will become more responsible. And I noticed that with both my children. I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old. I remember my son was deep into the games. Of course, we started off with board games, all these other games, and then he got into Minecraft, and he was deep into Minecraft and watching videos on Minecraft. And then he went into other games as he got older. But then when he got to about 13, 14 years old, all of a sudden he got into BMX bikes. So now he doesn't really play games much. Maybe he play a basketball game, some of those video games, but most of the time he's on his BMX bike or he's producing music. And he actually learned how to produce music on his device. And now he's making music, and we're making money with the music that he's making. Incredible. But it all started on his device. And he spends a lot of time on his BMX bike. But when is at home, he watches YouTube videos on BMX guys that are on BMX bikes, and he learns tricks on that, and then he goes out and practices. Now, my daughter is on this as well. She connects with all her friends on this. She communicates with her friends on this, and she will also, she's into makeup and art and writing. She gets educated on this. She's right now selling things online, some of her artwork, some of her writing things. So she's a little entrepreneur like my son, and she's using this, eBay and all that fun stuff. So this is a device, a tool that we can use. But like anything else, we've got to learn how to use it, and we've got to have self-awareness, self-control, and self-discipline. Not just our children, but all of us. So parents, I would highly recommend you ask yourself, okay, what are your habits? What are your children seeing with what you're doing? And then what are you teaching them? What are we teaching them? And let our actions teach, but then let our words bring understanding. And so if you're on your device all the time and it's for work, you let your children know that. And they might know this, but create conversations about that. And also be aware and help your children learn about awareness of where they go and what they do. We cannot change the fact that this is part of our children's today and their future. That's not going to change. Okay, guys. Matter of fact, it's going to get even more with contact lenses. We're going to have virtual reality. Right now, we already have augmented reality. We like Snapchat, all these things. Remember, we had this. What was that? A little game that people were going out, like Pokemon Go. So that was like an augmented reality there. So this is the future of our children. And so 10 years, 20 years from now, guys, this is it, and even more so. So we've got to keep in mind, it's not the tool, it's not the thing, it's the person. So let's lead the way. Self-control, self-discipline, self-awareness. We lead the way on this. Okay, guys, that's my thoughts on that. And this is what I teach at Donato Karate Center. Simply, self-awareness, number one. I tell all our students at Donato Karate Center that if you want to become a master in anything, become a master of awareness. First, become a master of self-awareness. Know who you are. Know your gifts, your talents. Know your weaknesses. Know your strengths. And be self-aware and always assess and move to the right appropriate action based on your assessment and your self-awareness. And then have external awareness so that wherever you go, whomever you're with, you are aware of where you are and who you're with. You assess the situation, you assess the person, and then you move forward with the right appropriate action. Those are my thoughts on that there. And bottom line, guys, I don't see a problem with the devices with our children. I see a problem with self-discipline and self-control, which is why I teach martial arts. Martial arts is a powerful tool, a powerful endeavor for anyone, because we create the environment where we help you make the powerful choice to be disciplined. Now, we don't teach discipline, because I don't believe discipline can be taught. I believe we all are disciplined. Discipline simply is the ability to do the right thing, whether you feel like it or not. So we don't teach discipline. We create an environment that nurtures discipline, that people will feel comfortable and feel that, hey, they fit in because I'm doing the right thing. Disciplined environment that's consistent, that's structured, and that is an environment where you come in and you will be called to be disciplined and self-controlled. That's what we do at Donato Karate Center. And that's where I believe our solution is, to help raise our children the way they should go so that they are prepared for the world and whatever comes their way in their world today and their tomorrow. Smartphones today, tomorrow it'll be contact lens where they can actually see videos in their contact lens. And the next, right now I have the iPods, what they're listening to, everything's going to be, the future for them is going to be their future. But what are we doing now? Let's teach them self-awareness, self-control, self-discipline. That's my job. Okay, so if you want to find out about our schedule and bring your kid to our school, go to donatokarate.com. Call me, 856-235-0414. If you do that today, you'll get a message. But if you want to text me, Text me at 856-278-5282 anytime. And if I'm awake, I will send you a link or answer to your question or your comments. If you call this number, which you can, you'll get my machine. But if you text, I'll respond to you. Okay, guys? So anyway, that's my thoughts on our children and mobile devices. Love to hear your feedback. You guys have a blessed day. I'll talk to you guys next time.